Hey, babe. Check it out. You want to help me?
Yeah.
Let's go. What is up, JL Life? Modell here.
Misty here.
I like that one. I like that one. So today's episode, we are going to be upgrading axle shafts on Bromance. So what we ended up doing, we went to Moab. So I've had the RCVs in the front of Bromance since about February, March of this year, and they've been working great. However, every company was dragging their feet getting rear axles shafts out. So I've been running stock ones ever since. Well, about 2 weeks before we went to Moab, I was contacted by my buddy saying, "Hey bro, Chomolys are finally available for the rear." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll hold off. I don't want to spend the money on it." Well, went to Moab, broke my rear axle, regretted it. I should have freaking bought them, threw them in the back of the Jeep and took them up there. That would have made life a little bit easier. But so, anyways, check these out. So one of the things, Yukon is also making the rear Chomolys, but we went with the Dana. These already come with the bearing pressed on, which will make my life much easier. And of course the studs already pressed on, which again, will make life much easier. What separates these from your regular shafts is they are chromoly. Chromoly is a huge upgrade over the stock metal. Chromoly is, again, neighbors. Chromolys take a lot more abuse than the stock, and if you're going to be doing things like rock crawling, one of the things you will see is when you watch anything rock crawling, you'll see what is called a bump, where you kind of go into it and your Jeep's going to bounce up and hopefully it catches and everything just works together and you get up the obstacle. Well, when things don't go right and you bump and you're in the air and things are turning really fast and they just grip something, it will slam into the rock. Your axles are spinning, they're spinning, they come back down, then it just catches. And a lot of torque is getting shoved into your axles, your diff, your drive line. I mean, it's all taking it. And that's typically where axle shafts break. And that's why we're upgrading Bromance. I don't think I'm ever going to have a problem with these. These are nickel chromoly. I'll put the specs of the chromoly here. I'll find it for you later. As far as the actual braking strength percentage of how much stronger these are over stock, I couldn't find that either because it's nowhere online. I do want to give a huge shout out to Doug Langford with Outlaw-Offroad. He got these to me really quick when I was actually up in Moab and I was calling business. I called Dixieland 4x4. They didn't have any. I started calling all the Jeep tour places out there. None of them had any. And well, if you go and look online, you'll find these axle shafts, but nobody's actually shipping them. They're all pre-orders, at least what I found. Doug with Outlaw-Offroad 4x4 was able to get these to my door within a week. Enjoy.
Yeah. Boop.
Whoa. Wrong side of the camera.
That booty though.
First things first, you're going to have to jack up the end that you're taking out. And again, this is just to focus on the back. If you want to watch the front, go back and find that video. I'll put the link somewhere up here.
Somewhere.
I'm learning how to use links in my videos, so yay. But we're going to jack up, take off the tire, and we'll get into it. After taking off the tire, we're going to want to take off the caliper. You're going to want to compress the piston, or the caliper. You're going to want to compress the caliper to easily take off the caliper. One, you can use a C-clamp to kind of push it all together. That is one option to do. A second option is, because these are so small of brake calipers, you can actually grab it and pull it and kind of just brace yourself and compress it, which we've already done. And you can see that it's moving now, and this will come off. So we're going to want to remove the bolt here. In here, it is a size 13. I'm going to have to hold that side. What we're going to be doing is take off the caliper. When you start twisting or torquing the bolt, this nut starts moving, this retainer nut, I don't know what you want to call it. Throw a 17 on it. Comes out willy-nilly. Same thing for the bottom. You're going to take off the caliper, set this somewhere where it's not going to pull on your brake lines. Don't just let it hang down. The next thing we're going to be doing is taking off the brake pads. You can either do this two different ways. You can take out the brake pads to make sure you don't accidentally drop them. But I'm just going to pull these out, get those out of the way. Behind it, to take off the brake pad bracket, you have these two large bolts. They were a size 18, right? 18, I'd already loosened them. I take those out, and this comes out easy peasy. You want to take out this little retainer bolt, which holds on the hub. Behind the axle, you have these 4 bolts, these 4 studs coming out towards the inside of the Jeep. These hold the axle shaft in place. You're going to want to take those out.
They are those bolts. Right?
Yeah. Don't lose none of your hardware. You're going to be reusing all of it.
That pretty face.
Gotcha. Slipped. Pro tip, push away, don't pull towards. In order to finally disconnect this so we can pull the whole thing off, is what you're going to try to do. You need to remove your ABS line bracket, which is back here. It's this little tiny guy. Yeah, it's an 8. Pull out. Because it might be a little stuck. Give it some love.
Broken.
It's like it's twisted.
Because it probably is.
Parking brake off. Like, what the heck? There we go.
That's
You got
coming.
Okay, everybody. Pro tip: remember to not use your parking brake.
Ooh, look at all that dust.
All that brake dust. Super corrosive, don't breathe it in.
Check if there's C-clips in this axle.
There's no C-clips in it.
Just want to make sure.
No C-clips in it. This should be it. There we go.
Okay,
What do
remember
we
the
got?
orientation of that.
Got a bunch of dirt.
And you will leak some fluid.
Yeah.
There she be.
Here's what it's supposed to look like. Here's what mine look like. This is the type of stuff that happens when you wheel with big boy tires.
And do the Moab bump.
Moab bump did me dirty. One of the things that make the Chomolys shaft, this guy, stronger than the stock shaft, if you look closely, as the shaft goes out to your splines, the splines start to go out and up. If you look more onto the
Close up,
upgraded,
Jordan.
it rolls seamlessly into the shaft, rolls seamlessly into the splines, which just helps strength. Pulling this off, and the reason I'm doing that is because I need to get to the racer inside of the shaft itself. This little guy that's moving, I need him out because, as I said,
Got a
these
new
new axle shafts come completely plug and play. You don't need it. Did you just rip it out without me showing people? Jordan isn't used to recording, so he's jumping
guns.
Sorry.
Restart.
Alright, so just come out equally on all sides. You pull out more on one side, you're obviously not going to get it. That belongs on there. And you can see they look identical. But again, this one's chromoly.
Chromoly, bro.
When putting this back into your axle tube, be mindful of the seal towards the diff. Don't just ram it in there. You gotta do the foreplay. You gotta warm things up. Just be gentle. Otherwise, if you cram it in there, you're going to mess up your seal. Then you're going to have to be splitting open your diff and replacing your seals.
Pro tip, lithium grease the end of the shaft so when it goes through the seal, it doesn't get stuck. Just like they always say, spit on it before you stick it. So if you put lithium grease on there and lube it up properly so when it slides through the seal, it doesn't get caught and tear.
Before you put it back in, your emergency brake's back on.
Cable.
Reattach the brake cable. Back in.
Oh, careful now.
The holes. Push it in. Your little bolts. And to make sure you cross them in a crisscross pattern when you get to the point where it's time to start
Cinching them down.
Yeah, so start torquing them down. And one thing I'm actually going to do real quick is get some anti-seize for that one.
And a metal brush.
Much easier if you have a cup wire brush, but there's a reason why. Why the hell? Oh, never mind.
So the main reason I want to put anti-seize on this little guy, as you saw all the corrosion on the hub, I don't want it to get onto this to where I can't get it out, and I'm trying to pull it out with the torque bit and it strips the torque head and just making my life a lot harder. So make your life easier, use some anti-seize. Not a lot of torque. Bracket on. Alright, so next thing we need to do is get our brake caliper bracket back on. Slides right over.
Line up your bolt holes.
Line up your bolt holes.
Do not leave the hammer in the frame.
Okay. Probably should have done this one first, but easy to get to still. This doesn't have to be super tight. Just snug it up. Brake pads back in place. Caliper piston back over it. Get these guys. Start one, start two. Make sure you hold the nut on this side, tighten it up. Other side. Nah, super important step anytime you compress your brake pistons, your brake calipers, is come in to the Jeep once you get them back on and press the brakes until they firm up. So it is as simple as that. I'm going to throw the tire back on. We're going to do the other side. If the other side is messed up, I'll put it in the video. But I'm going to swap out the other side, go test drive it, make sure everything's golden, and we'll be done. So guys, install went like a breeze, except my tone ring actually wasn't pressed on all the way. It was rubbing into my ABS sensor. I heard like a whooshing sound. I pulled it all apart, saw my ABS sensor resting on my tone ring, and had to press that further down. Now, I didn't record that for this video. However, we are upgrading her shafts pretty soon, and they're coming unassembled, so we're gonna have a video showing all that, and I'll make sure
All the fun assembles.
I'll show all the fun assembles. But we'll make sure we get into correcting it if you have an issue with the Dana ones in that video. As far as how it's working, my Danas are working good, but I've only used them once. They're working. As far as longevity, only time will tell. But you guys know we love to do the stupid things. I will continue to beat on them until I break it.
Can beat them no more.
Yes. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Remember to
Like, comment,
subscribe and share. And it's cold. I need to start wearing jackets for these outros. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, the Jolo shop, link below. Remember,
use your notification button.
yeah, and don't forget, we're still doing the free decals. Yo, keep it easy.